And rewatch it if you need. Okay, so as far as amount of clay, I'm gonna say about 2.5 pounds. We have this handy dandy little scale here. 2.5 is halfway between 2 and 3, which I hope you know. So once the red arrow is halfway between 2 and 3, that is the amount of clay that you're gonna get. And it's a little more than you actually need, but when you're slab building, you always want like a little bit extra. If you don't have enough, you have to start all over with your slab. So you want to make sure you have plenty where you'll be able to enough material, right? So direct your eyes back to the screen. I have my 2.5 pounds of clay. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wedge it, which helps to get some of the air out. And it's basically like, see how it's all like kind of, it's creased and everything. This kind of helps combine everything into one nice, consistent piece of clay. Now from here, I'm going to give myself a head start. I'm not going to make a perfect ball. The reason why I'm not going to make a perfect ball is because this is my template. So at each table there should be like one of these rectangle things. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to make a piece of clay this shape, and then we'll stand it up and it'll become the cup part, right? So since this is a long skinny shape, I'm going to start with my clay in a more long sort of a ball, not a ball, but like a burrito shape. And then here's a common mistake. Common mistake is someone will try to go right in with the rolling pin. That really won't do much at this point. What you should do is like give it a few punches, right? So you can start to flatten it here. But so, like another common mistake is people will get carried away and they'll punch it too much. I know it feels good. It's a little soothing to punch something sometimes, but what you're gonna do after you punch it a bit is to roll it out. And that's where these guide sticks come in. Basically, their job is to keep you from going too flat or too thin. So like if these sticks are on either side of your clay, the rolling pin can't press down any thinner than this, right? So if I am rolling, and I flip it over, roll, notice that I am flipping over. The person before me didn't do a good job cleaning, so it's kind of leaving a texture in my clay, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm going to continue to flip it over, continue to roll it. And then as I'm going, I'm continually measuring how this fits on. It's kind of short on the corners there, but I'm getting really close to like running out of, like I won't be able to go any flatter with my guide sticks there. So in a second, I'm going to have to take the training wheels off. And now, to get this last bit that doesn't quite fit on the corners, I'm going to trust myself to just do a little bit. So I'm pushing from the middle towards where those corners would be, and it forces the clay out that way. The places that tend to get the thinnest on accident are the ends, so I'm avoiding adding any more pressure on those. And then this rib is for compression. So I just drag it across with a little bit of pressure, and it doesn't make that big of a visual difference, but what it's doing is it's making all of those clay particles all just kind of join together. And there might be some like dark pieces of clay. It won't make a difference once it dries. It's all the same. And then this should be just about right. Gorgeous. Now I can cut it. This is the most satisfying part. I'll hold it still, and I'll use my knife to cut right along each of the 4 edges. And then, whoops, make sure if you drop clay, you pick it up. And now I have my cup form. So how does this cup turn into a cup, Mrs. Martin? You pick it up, right? Gerald, you know? You're going to pick it up and you'll kind of turn it so it's a cylinder shape, okay? You can slip and score these 2 like flat edges together and then blend it, but that's not super strong. The strongest way, or the strongest connection, is to have a little bit of overlap, right? So when I'm lining it up, instead of going right on each other, I like to have a little overlap. And I'll show you why in a second, or I'll show you how much stronger it is. So I will score this. And I will score this. And I'll add some slip. Bada bing, bada boom. And then I will start to blend. So I'm just pushing the clay from the top onto like the rest of the cup. And I need to do the same thing to the inside. At first it's going to look really rough. This is one that I took some time to blend though, and you can't even tell where the seam was anymore, right? I'll put that more in the middle. So you can't even really see where it was, because I really took my time to make sure I blended it well, to make everything nice and seamless on both the outside and on the inside. What are we missing on our cup? Louise, thank you. The bottom. Yes, the bottom is more important than the handle at this point. So I'm going to take all the scraps I used, or all the scraps I created, and I'm going to make another slab. So if you missed me making a slab the first time, watch this. I'll wedge all those pieces together so they're more like consistent. Then I'm not going to just go right in with my rolling pin because it'll take forever. I'll punch it a little bit. Not too much. You still want it to be pretty thick. And then from here, I'll roll, 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 flip it over, roll, roll, roll. And by now it's definitely big enough, but it's way too thick. You don't want this to be too thick or you'll end up with a clunky mug. Flip it, roll it, compress it. Bada bing, bada boom. And then to get the exact right shape, the easiest thing to do is to just make sure this is nice and circular, first of all. So kind of like if sometimes they accidentally go like that, make sure they're nice and consistent and circular. Pop it on top, cut around it. And then what do I need to do when I'm attaching two pieces? Slip and score, thank you guys. So I'm cutting around it. It's not a perfect cut right off the bat, but that's okay because I'm gonna just end up blending it anyways. And today, maybe you will get up to this point and have a great cup by the end of class. Or maybe you'll try it and you'll fail miserably and you'll have to start over next week. That's totally fine. This is your first time trying this, right? So I don't expect everyone to end up with a perfect cup on their first try. And then, of course, next week we can add the handle and stuff. But I'm scoring really well. I'm adding some slip. And when I go to blend it, I see some people make this mistake where they will put this on top. That is making your life way harder. To make your life nice and easy, do it upside down. Because it's really hard to like get against that bottom edge and blend it upward. But it's very easy to blend downward from here. So again, when you're first blending, it's going to look pretty rough. But this one is one that I took my time on. So that bottom edge is really, really blended. Okay. Thank you guys for your attention. I know that's like a longer type of a demonstration. But does anyone have any questions about that stuff before I set you loose? Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop recording.